This is a story about two homeowners. And the first one did everything right. They drove the same car for 15 years. They cooked at home instead of eating out. They skipped vacations and never upgraded to that bigger TV. Every extra dollar they had went towards savings or paying off the mortgage. And after all those years of sacrifice, they paid it off. No more bank statements, no more lender. The house was theirs. Now, the second one, well, they did the opposite. They had a new car every 3 years, went on vacations on the credit card, ate out twice a week, refinanced the house to redo the kitchen. They still owed $200,000, and they will be making payments until they're 75. But here's the part that should make you furious. If both of them miss enough property tax payments, they will both lose their homes. Yeah, the person who sacrificed everything and the person who lived recklessly are equally at risk, because in America, paying off your mortgage doesn't mean you own your home. It just means you've upgraded from renting from a bank to renting from the government. And the government, well, they can raise your rent whenever they want without even asking your permission. And if you think I'm exaggerating, I want you to watch this.
Gloria Gainor's mind is fading.
Hang in there, Ma.
Her body frail. She's confined to a bed in the living room of her Upper Darby home of nearly 25 years. A home she's about to be forced out of.
She has slight dementia. So we're like up the creek with nowhere to go, no help, nothing.
Now, did you catch that? A 91-year-old woman with dementia is lying in a hospital bed in her own living room. She's about to be dragged out by the sheriff because she missed one property tax payment during COVID. Her home is worth $250,000. She owed $3,500, and she gets nothing after they auctioned it off. Not a single dollar of the equity that she spent her whole life building. Gloria Gainor, and no, not the disco lady, she skipped her trip to the tax office in 2020 because her whole town was locked down. When people were slightly less insane, she went back in 2021 to pay her taxes. She thought she was caught up, but the county put her payment toward the wrong year. Innocent mistake, right? Well, her $3,500 tax debt quietly grew to over $14,000 with penalties and fees. And at this point, she's developing dementia. She even has no idea that this is happening. In a real estate investment company, well, they swoop in, they buy her debt at auction, and then they take the deed to her home, a $250,000 home. And that company, by the way, has done this 62 times in that one county since 2011. And sure, I guess some of us, if we want to be short-sighted, we can get mad at the company, but no, I'm telling you, don't hate the player, hate the game. I don't blame the company here. I blame this crooked and unethical government for creating the rules where players like that can thrive and beautiful souls like Gloria are left homeless because of an innocent mistake. I mean, how crazy is that? If you're not furious, you're not paying attention. In the freest country in the world, we are always going to be debt slaves to this government. Now, let's talk about what the government does with the money that it squeezes out of people like Gloria. Senator Rand Paul, he puts out a report every year on government waste. And here are some of the highlights from 2026. The Department of Interior spent $12 million on a pickleball complex in Las Vegas. The National Science Foundation spent $280,000 making birdwatching clubs more inclusive. And the State Department, well, they spent nearly $5 million paying Ukrainian influencers. Here's the best part. The National Endowments for the Arts, they gave $10,000 to fund a drag queen show on ice skates about climate change. So let me just recap this for you right now. Gloria Gainor loses her home over $3,500, and the government is funding ice skating drag queens. She can't afford to stay in the house that she's paid off, but we can afford $12 million for pickleball in Las Vegas. And that's the deal. You tighten your belt. You skip the steak, you drive the old car, and then the government takes your house while spending your money on things that you never asked for and would never approve. 2 years ago, the Supreme Court looked at a case almost exactly like Gloria's. Her name was Geraldine Tyler. She was 94 years old and she lived in Minneapolis. Now, her condo was seized over $2,300 in unpaid taxes. With fees, it grew to $15,000. Well, the county, they sold her condo for a mere $40,000. And guess what they did? They kept every penny. All 9 justices on the Supreme Court agreed that this was unconstitutional. All 9 of them. These are the people who cannot agree on anything. Chief Justice Roberts wrote that the taxpayer, well, they must render unto Caesar what is Caesar's, but no more. And I don't know about you, but does anybody find it kind of sickening and creepy that he had to quote the Bible to explain that the government was robbing 94-year-old widows out of their homes? Case closed. Problem solved, right? Wrong. See, even after that Supreme Court case, states still found workarounds for their thievery. Pennsylvania, they don't sell the home and pocket the extra money, which is what the Supreme Court said you can't do. What they do is they sell the debt to a private investor, and that investor gets the deeds. So I guess technically the government didn't keep the surplus. They just broke the window, hot-wired the car, got out, and they let their buddy drive off with it. It's totally different. Very legal, very cool, totally not Grand Theft Auto. Let me show you how fast this math gets really ugly. Let's say you're 74 years old, you paid off your house 20 years ago. You're living on Social Security, which means you bring in, I don't know, maybe $28,000 a year. Your property taxes used to be $4,000. Painful, but doable. Well, then the housing market explodes. Your home gets reassessed, and suddenly your tax bill jumps to $6,000 or $7,000 a year. That could be 25% of your entire income going straight to taxes on a home that you are supposed to have already owned. If you miss one payment because you had to choose between your medication and your tax bill, well, now you're on a clock. And the fees, they just keep piling up. The interest compounds, and some investment firm is circling your house like a shark that smells blood. And if you think I'm being dramatic, well, guess what? Between 2014 and 2021, at least 8,600 homes were seized exactly this way across the dozen states that allow it. Now, the owners, they get little or nothing after that auction. It's not a rounding error. That is a small town wiped out because people fell behind on a few $1,000s. Now, some states are finally doing something. Texas is working on a bill to eliminate school property taxes for 90% of seniors. New York just signed a law letting counties offer 65% exemptions for seniors, and that's up from 50%, which was their previous exemption rate. In Florida, they have a $250,000 senior exemption program that's slowly moving its way through the legislature. Whatever. Sounds great. Yay, progress. Yay, reform. The system is fixing itself, right? No, wrong. There's always a catch, and here's the catch here. You have to apply for these programs. Nobody is telling you they exist. It's not like the county is sending out letters saying, hey guys, you're 70 and you could qualify for a break that would save you $5,000 a year and give us less money. You have to find it yourself. You have to dig through all the archives. And according to AARP, over 9 million Americans likely qualify for property tax relief, but only 8% actually apply. See, that is not a program. That is a secret handshake. And if you don't know it, you lose. So here's what's really happening. The government inflates the currency, which inflates your home's value. They tax you on that inflated number. When you can't pay, they take the home and they keep the profit, or they hand it to someone who will, just so happen to donate handsomely to their next campaign. And then they announce an exemption program that requires paperwork that you didn't know existed, filed by a deadline nobody told you about. This is your government at work. They cripple you for life, and then they hand you a free cane and they expect a thank you card. So here's what I want you to do. If you're watching this video and you even think you might be eligible, go to your county property appraiser's website, search for homestead exemption or senior freeze. Sometimes they call it an over 65 exemption or a property tax deferral. These programs, they do exist in a lot of states. The forms are free, and if somebody tries to charge you like $200 to file, that is a scam. Go away from them. Now, most deadlines, they hit around March 1st, so please do not wait. If you have parents or grandparents who own their own home, send them this video and sit down with them to check, because the county is not going to remind them.
2 courts ruled against overturning the tax lien sale of Gainor's home. Her options are exhausted, and the door is closing on her time here on Wayne Avenue in Upper Darby.
You rent your home from the government, and the rent changes whenever they feel like it. The only question is whether you know the rules well enough to survive, or whether you're going to end up like Gloria, 91 years old, bedridden, watching strangers take the deed to everything she built. Don't let that be your parents. Look, real estate is complex. It feels like there's hidden rules and hidden handshakes everywhere you look. And that's why I made this video right here. So if you're ever looking to sell your home, it's going to keep you safe from the hidden legal landmines that will just ruin your day. So watch it, get educated, and I will see you there.